Hi guys, it's Ray here from City Fan TV. Hope you're all well today. I've got some disturbing news for you guys today about Eric Garcia. I sat down to watch Pep's press conference this afternoon. I thought, get Pep's press conference over and done with. And I'll have a lazy afternoon watching the test match cricket between England and Pakistan. But during Pep's press conference, he dropped an absolute bombshell about Eric Garcia. Some news that we'd heard some rumours, but we were thinking, no, it can't be true. It can't be true. Pep was asked about Eric Garcia in his press conference, and Pep said he announced to us he doesn't want to extend his contract with City. He has one more year, and then after that, he doesn't want to extend. We wanted to, but he doesn't want to. We imagine he wants to play in another place. That's absolutely devastating news, guys. Devastating news because, Eric Garcia is coming through now. He's starting to blossom. He's played a load of Premier League games, and the back end of the season, he had his Premier League debut back in September, and he's played since the restart. He's played most of the games, apart from 2 or 3 games after he got had that concussion injury. Was it the first game back against Arsenal? Well, when Edison knocked him out. But apart from that, he's been a mainstay in our centre-back pairing with Emerick Laporte. And at 19 years old, you're thinking this kid could be at City for 10 or 15 years, hopefully get through to becoming a top-level player. But he's set to leave Man City after turning down this new contract, which would have obviously given him a huge increase in pay. And as well as, City have told him he's a main part of their future. I'm going to try and look a little bit back about the kid, what he's like, why are we having this problem with people wanting to leave, and could we have done anything about it? Now, it looks more than likely that he is going to go to Barcelona because they've been tapping him up. Apparently, the noises have been coming out that it's Barcelona looking to get him. You've got to remember, we got Garcia, was it 3 years ago, as a 16-year-old from Barcelona's famed La Masia Academy. They made it no secret of their wish to recapture this kid. A little bit of acrimony when he left. Carlos Puyol, the Barcelona legend, is his agent, and he got him out of there. I don't think they were too pleased about that. He was their best player. But the problem is his current deal expires next summer, and it looks like City may well be keen to sell him now rather than lose him for nothing next year. And I see the benefit in that because there's no point keeping the kid because he's not going to be part of your future. What's the point of letting him play next season if he's not going to be part of your future after that? So the best thing to do right now is to sell him and move on. Let's have a look at Eric Garcia. He's about, I think, 5'11" tall. People have said maybe he's not the tallest, maybe he's not the fastest, but since we saw him playing as a 17-year-old in the International Champions Cup in America, in the USA, back in 2018, people have been wowed. It was amazing to see this kid play. The composure he had, he's a bit like Edison. He was so composed, so calm, so cool. He knew what was going to happen before it happened, kind of. He knew where to move just before he had to do it. He was always one step ahead. He was always thinking one step ahead. And, I remember, I can't remember the game now, he advised Pep, that was it, a game where he saw the opposition when they were warming up, and he went back in and said to Pep, "This is this is how they're going to set up, or this is what they're warming up on, this is what they're training on." And Pep implemented that in the game, and I think Pep obviously commented afterwards. That's how we found out about it. This kid is always thinking. Very intelligent as a footballer. Yes, he's not blessed with the greatest of pace. We saw that in the FA Cup semi-final when he had no chance of catching Aubameyang. He's pretty nippy, Aubameyang. But it's massive disappointment. Look, let's look at some stats. He's played 13 times in the Premier League for City. As I said, his debut was last September. In that time, he's had 11 wins and 2 losses, only 3 clean sheets, which, this season, okay, we've not had a lot of clean sheets. I think we've had, 16 or 17 clean sheets in the whole season. He's played once in the Champions League, and over 2 seasons, he's played 6 times in the Carabao Cup, or the EFL Cup. So in total, he's played 20 senior games for City, which is not bad for a 19-year-old kid. But, he was born in Barcelona. He's been a lifelong fan of the club. He trained at the La Masia Academy. And if Barcelona come knocking on the door, it's very hard to turn them down if you're a kid from Barcelona who supports them. And we've had this already. We saw with in the last couple of years, we've seen Brahim Diaz leave. Another very exciting talent, but he likes Real Madrid. They came in for him. He went off there. We've seen other talents leave. We've seen Jadon Sancho leave. Was it 3 seasons ago? We've seen Rabi Matondo leave last summer. And I think, look, let's be honest, this is going to keep on happening. It's going to keep on happening with young kids because, look at Sancho's situation. He wanted more. He wanted to play more, maybe a bit more money. And Dortmund were offering that. It's very hard to break through at City. Same with Rabi Matondo. He just knew he wasn't going to break through. How are you going to get past? At that time, we had Leroy Sané, we had Riyad Mahrez, we had Bernardo Silva and Raheem Sterling. You ain't getting past them unless you're exceptional. So Rabi Matondo left as well. Brahim was struggling, but obviously the draw of Real Madrid was big for Brahim as well. And it's been in the draw of Barcelona is immense for Eric Garcia as well. Barcelona right now, they're struggling a little bit. Will he walk straight into their team? He's got a decent chance. My worries for him as a kid, when Messi goes, Barcelona will. The question is, will Barcelona get better or will they drop off? Because everything's been focused around Messi, and maybe he's the elephant in the room. When he leaves, there'll be more of a team. What's his name? Suarez is 34, Messi's 33. They're knocking on. So will Barcelona drop off or will they get better? I don't know. But it is an issue for City. It is an issue for City that we're losing so many kids, very promising kids. Can you imagine? We could have had, in a couple of years' time, a forward line of something like Jadon Braff, Jadon Sancho, Brahim Diaz, with Foden, Tommy Doyle in midfield. Yeah. Maybe even Rabi Matondo, who knows? And Taylor Howard-Bellis and Eric Garcia at the back. It could have been bonkers. And that leads me to my next point. I think we need to be promoting some of these kids a little bit earlier. I know it's difficult. I know it's not easy. But if Eric Garcia when he came in September, if he'd been a mainstay in the team, if he'd been playing a lot, if he played 25 Premier League games this season, if he'd been ahead of Fernandinho when Emerick Laporte got injured, then maybe he'd have been even more ingrained into City, and maybe he would have been less likely to move on when Barcelona came tapping him up, when they come calling. Maybe he has more loyalty to City. Yes, there's that draw of Barcelona, but he's now, if he played 25 league games this season, maybe that could have helped to keep him. So for me, I'm trying to look at ways, what can we do to keep our kids? What can we do to keep people happy? We've lost a lot of talent. Jadon Sancho's, he might be being sold for about £100 million, and he is that level of talent. And we lost him. We got 10 million quid for him, but he wanted to go. We couldn't force him to stay. So I say there's a couple of things we can look at. Do we look at extending contracts sooner? Now, Eric Garcia was on a 4-year contract, I think, when he came to City. And he's only got 1 year left. Could we have extended last summer? Should we have extended last summer? Yeah. Once you know someone's got that potential, got that future, do you try and extend early? Is that a risk? But then on the other side of the coin, that is a risk as well, extending too early, because the player might not keep developing the way you want. So do you extend for an extra couple of years? Then you have to pay more money. Maybe the money goes to his head. There's a lot of things to think about. Or do you go around, instead of giving kids a 3 or 4 year contract, give them a 5-year contract? Do you give them that extra year to say, right, we really think you're going to come through? And in Garcia's case, it's been just over 2 years, and he's hitting the big time with City now. If you've given him a 5-year contract, okay, by the time he's hitting the big time within 3 years, he's still got 2 years left. It's not so easy for Barcelona to prize him away on the cheap. Now, we have no idea what he's going to be sold for. Jadon Sancho went for £10 million, even though he hadn't played a Premier League game for City. Brahim Diaz went for up to £15 million. He played a handful of games for City. Rabi Matondo went for, I can't remember now, 6, 7, 8 million package to Schalke. He hadn't played for City. Garcia he's played 20 games at the top level. As I said, 13 Premier League, 6 in the Carabao Cup, and once in the Champions League. So he's played a decent number of games. But like the others, he's in his last year of his contract. Now, we might be able to push Barcelona for 20 million quid. I think we'll struggle to get anything more than that. I don't think Barcelona would want to let him wait for that last year, run down his contract for that last year. I don't think he'd want to do that because I can't, as I said, I can't see City playing him. If he's not the future, then why are we going to bother with him? Let's fast track Taylor Howard-Belly, so get Tosin Adarabioyo back. Well, he's back. He's had 2 loan seasons away. He's done pretty well at West Brom and Blackburn. So, by doing this, he's got no future at City, has Garcia. Now, so as I said, do we give kids a 5-year contract? Obviously, there's a risk in that. The risk is that if you give every kid you buy from outside or even homegrown kids who local talent, if you give them all for an extra year on the contract and they don't make it, you're at risk that having to pay them, you might be paying them 20 grand a week, or 30 grand a week. You might be at a risk of having to keep paying them for 5 years instead of 3 or 4 years. But is that a risk worth taking? On the other hand, you could look at these kids and say, it's part of our business strategy, it's our business model. Get kids in, build them up, they make it in the first team, fantastic, or we sell them on, make money. From these kids, we could end up with 70 million quid in the last 3 seasons from Sancho, Matondo, Brahim Diaz and Garcia. And then there's a load of other kids as well, people like Angus Gunn. We made about 12 to 15 million quid on Angus Gunn, who we sold to Southampton after he'd been on loan at Norwich for a season and done pretty well. So, do we just accept this? Do we just accept this as part of our business model? Some will make it, some won't. What hurts is the further down the line they are, the more they look like they're going to make it, the more they've been playing in the first team, the more it hurts. Sancho hurt because we knew he had potential, but he'd not played for us. Matondo hurt less because we hadn't seen him as much. We didn't think he had as much potential. Brahim hurt because he'd played a few times in the first team. He has potential. And Garcia's played the most, so that hurts. It feels like it hurts even more. And it also makes me think, do we need to give, besides giving the players a chance a little bit earlier, like I said, if he'd played more games, maybe he would have stayed a bit longer. Maybe he felt likely to stay longer at City. Do we give more local talent a chance? Manchester boys or people from the local area who are City fans. We always run the risk if you're coming from like Brahim. If Real Madrid come calling for Brahim, he's off. Barcelona come calling for Eric Garcia, he's off. We've just got this kid Pablo Moreno who played he scored over 200 goals in the academy teams at Barcelona. At 16, he went to Juventus. At 18, he's come to City. Now, in 2 years' time, if he starts coming through and Barcelona come calling, he went through there at La Masia. What's the chances that he's going to walk away as well? So that's a huge risk. So if we've got the talent, local talent, City fans, why don't we push them a little bit more? People Foden. If Foden had been a fan of another club or a foreign kid, and we had treated him the way we treated him, it's a slow drip games, and now he's starting to get a bit more. But he's in the last 2 seasons, he's not played enough. He could have been playing for England for the last 2 seasons, like Mason Mount. He's played a few games for Chelsea in the first team. He's in the England squad, and Foden could have done the same. So if he'd been playing a little bit more for City. But if Foden, as I said, if he'd supported somebody else, and he might have gone to a big club that had come in. If he wasn't a City fan, if Juventus had come calling, or Bayern Munich, Barcelona, PSG, or Real Madrid, maybe he'd have gone somewhere else. It's a distinct possibility. But because he's a City fan, he's going to give more for the shirt, and he's going to stick it out. He's got more loyalty. He wants to make it a success here. So do we give more people like Tommy Doyle? Do we start giving him a chance? You've got to be good enough as well, but do we give them more chances? Tommy Doyle, he'll never leave. Both his grandfathers, Glenn Pardo and Mike Doyle, played for the club. Do we give Taylor Howard-Belly a chance? He's 18 years old. He looks extremely promising at centre-back. Do we give Cole Palmer more opportunities? Do we give Cole Palmer more opportunities than Jayden Braff, who's already sounds like he's agitating, he's not got the attitude that possibly City want? Do we give the local lads more opportunity than some of the others? I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is, guys. But it's an absolute shame to be losing, but it looks like, by the sound of things, Eric Garcia. We've still got time to try and twist it around, but I'm not so sure we will. If he's refusing, it's like Leroy Sané all over again. You know, he had the draw from Bayern Munich, huge contract at Bayern Munich as well. And you can understand it's not just money, but it's the opportunity. And going back to Germany, and people are homesick. You know, who's to know that the last few months haven't taken a toll on Eric Garcia, the last 6 months of this COVID-19 situation. You know, it can take a toll on people. They could miss their family if they've not been able to travel. You'd be homesick. Remember, he's only 19 years old, so there's lots of things. And when Barcelona come knocking on your door, and you think, I'm going to get into their first team, I could be here for 15 years at my club, and my boyhood club, where I trained and who I support. I can't see, you know, anything past that. And the final thing I'm thinking about, what does that do to the game against Real Madrid? What does that do to his, Garcia's chances of playing against Real Madrid? Now, if you remember the last game of the season when we played against Norwich, Pep played, I think there was 2 players that I immediately remember for half a game. You know, there was Garcia, who played half a game with Fernandinho, okay? So I think Garcia started and Fernandinho came on at half-time. Foden started as well, and Mahrez came on at half-time for Foden. And it gets me thinking, who is Pep going to start against Real Madrid? And it looks like those 2 positions, he was looking at, you know, 2 players for each position. Okay, so he was looking at centre-back. Who partners Laporte? Is it going to be Fernandinho? Is it going to be Eric Garcia? Question is now it's all come out in the open. Is that going to put added pressure on Eric Garcia? Will it make him play better, or will it be on his head, in his mind? Will Pep just say, right, you're not the future, Fernandinho, you're playing? Maybe they knew this anyway, and that's another reason Fernandinho played, because Eric Garcia had played decent at the start since the lockdown. You know, since lockdown is still kind of on and off, but since the restart of the Premier League, you know, he had a couple of games where he struggled a little bit. Obviously, the Arsenal game was pretty disappointing all round, and maybe Pep's thinking maybe Fernandinho needs to start. He's got the experience. And you know, he can move into midfield as well as play centre back, so he gives that flexibility, that versatility, those options as well. And obviously he's 34 years old. He's maybe not as fast as you'd want him to be. Is he 35 now, Fernandinho? But he's got that brain. He's got that mentality. So what do we do with Eric Garcia now? Do we play him in the Champions League? You know, it'd be really interesting to see. Does he get dropped to the bench? Does he get dropped out of the squad? Are we going to just teach him a lesson? I don't know. Do we cut our nose off to spite our face? I don't think we would. And that also leads to another question. If Eric Garcia is leaving, what happens to Stones and Otamendi? Now, we thought Stones and Otamendi were gone. A lot of people said, you know, I want them both gone. I said maybe we'll keep one, but we could lose 2 if we get Ake and Koulibaly, for example. We've got Nathan Ake now. If we got Koulibaly, I mean, did Garcia look at that and say, well, you're going to get Koulibaly. He's been talking about it for so many months. And that's going to push me back to second choice. Maybe I'll be a first choice at Barcelona, my boyhood club, who are struggling. Okay, they might not be as good as City. Or should I be second choice at City, not get many games, but might win trophies? It's a very, very difficult choice. But what does that mean for the likes of Stones and Nicolas Otamendi? You know, Otamendi was going to leave last summer. And until Vincent Kompany announced that he was going to leave, I think Otamendi was gone. And then he decided to stay. Now, once again, I think Otamendi and Stones look at it and say, well, it's Garcia and Laporte. And if Fernandinho's getting picked before us, and they've got Ake and they may be getting Koulibaly, we're going to leave. Yeah. But now if Garcia goes, does that mean one of Stones or Otamendi might stay? Especially if we don't get Koulibaly or somebody else. I mean, losing Garcia now, this summer, is going to, not signing a contract, it's going to mess up our defence, possibly mess up our plans. Maybe our plans are already set. Maybe we've known for 3 or 4 months that Garcia is going to go. Maybe, we heard the rumblings a few months ago, and that's why Pep started playing Garcia a little bit more. I've seen that before with Otamendi when he was grumbling. I've seen it with Cancelo when he was grumbling about not playing. I've seen it with 1 or 2 other players as well. Massive bad news, I think. This is, it's messing with my mind, guys. It's messing with our strategy and what we're going to do going forwards. But we're just going to have to wait and see, guys. As I said, tomorrow's decision about who's going to start, who's going to be on the bench, that might play a big part, into helping us decide what's going to happen with Garcia. I think if he's not in the starting 11, he's definitely off. If he's in the starting 11, maybe we're still trying to persuade him to stay. I have no idea what's going to happen. But keep it here, guys. We'll be talking about it tomorrow when we do the actual team news 1 hour before the game kicks off. Guys, if you're new to our YouTube channel, it would be absolutely fantastic if you could subscribe to our channel. Hit that bell icon so you're notified as soon as new videos come out. See you around, Blues.